Okay, here's a nice question. Um, they say what volume of a 0.151 molar sodium sulfide solution contains 1.01 grams of sodium ions? That's an interesting question. Let's maybe first start with what we know. So we have a concentration, and here we have a mass. So if I look at the formulas, like I have C equals N over V, and I have N is equal to mass over molar mass. So with concentration, I know the concentration, that's this. I don't know moles, and they're actually looking for volume. So I can't use this formula because I have two unknowns. Let's look at this next formula. They do have a mass, but they have a mass of sodium ions. That causes me a little bit of concern there. But I have a mass, and I can always figure out molar mass as long as I know what it is. Therefore, I think I should have enough information for me to proceed. Again, if it's 1.1 grams of this stuff, that's one thing. But if it's of the ions, that's another thing. Let me write the dissociation equation. So I have Na2S, and if you dissolve that in water, it'll give me 2 sodium ions plus 1 sulfide ion. Okay, if it dissociates in water. So what I'm worried about here is this 2 versus 1. Because they say 1.01 grams of sodium ions. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'll figure out how many moles of sodium ions I have. So moles is equal to mass over molar mass. The mass is 1.01 grams. And the molar mass here, it's just of sodium ions. So rather than using sodium and sulfur, which I might need to later, I'm just going to use sodium. And sodium is 22.99 grams per mole. Okay, calculator. I should just pull up decimals because I'll be needing that a few times, I think. Okay. Okay, so I need to go 1.01, 1 divide 22.99. So 0.0439, 0.0439, etc. moles of sodium ions. Now, here's where it gets into a little bit of ratio kind of thing, where for every 1 mole of sodium sulfide I have 2 moles of sodium ions. So actually, I'm going to have half the number of moles of this stuff, okay? Half the moles of that stuff. So I'll just write that down. So 2 moles of ions, the sodium ions, is to 1 mole of sodium sulfide. So if I have 0.0439 moles of this, how many moles of that am I going to have? And hopefully you can see I'm just going to divide that by 2. It's just going to cut in half. So if there's 2 here and a 1 there, to go this way, I'm just going to divide by 2. Okay, so I need to go over here to my decimals and divide that by 2. There. So the number of moles of sodium sulfide are equal to 0.021966, etc. moles. Okay, so now if I look at that formula, C equals N over V, that now I've got moles and I have concentration, so I can figure out volume. Rearranging the formula, I'll have V is equal to N over C. Now, if you're not sure how to manipulate the formula like that, just a quick little thing here. If I want to know what V is on the bottom. Let me do this in a different color over here. So I have C equals N over V. If I want to solve for V, it can't be on the bottom. So I multiply both sides to get V on the top. So I'd get VC is equal to N, because these would cancel. And then if I want V by itself, I have to divide this side by concentration. That's how I got this formula. So the volume then will be equal to 0.021966 moles divided by the concentration, which is 0.151 moles per liter. Moles cancel out. So now on my on decimals here, I'm going to take the answer that I had. Come on. And I'm going to divide that by, that's interesting, it puts all those divisions there, 0.151. Whoops. I missed a 1. 151. There we go. So the volume is 0.14547 liters. So if I'm rounding that to 3 sig figs, yeah. So volume is 0.145 liters right there. Hopefully that helps you with that one. That's a difficult question because of that ratio thing right there. Yeah, if I put one of those on the test, that would be a surprise. Typically, I'm not going to be that nasty, but hopefully that gives you an understanding of taking things that are ions and using a mole ratio to figure out moles of a compound, and then I can go from there. We'll be doing more of this specific stuff, and I'll probably wait for that, more of this specific stuff when we get into stoichiometry.